Tableau User Group, or Twin Cities. We're inclusive here. We only have one group for the whole area. So kind of some of our usual agenda items, like a welcome. We'll talk about some upcoming events that are kind of tangential to us, I guess. We'll do a get to know a member, and then we actually have a couple of different presentations about Tableau Pulse and generative AI today. And our small but mighty group here in the room, if you are interested, we'll go grab a drink at Kincaid's maybe at the end. Those of you on the phone, you're going to have to happy hour yourselves at home. So mark your calendars. Events, April 2nd, which is like Tuesday, I think, is a She Talks Data event here in Minneapolis. The big event is at the end of next month will be the Tableau conference in San Diego. For those of you attending, I imagine a lot of us will be there in person or attending virtually. SysTech still a go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's on May 3rd. You want to talk about that at all? Give them a bigger plug.
Wait, I can't unmute. That'll be weird. Well, they can hear, right? So the SysTech conference, we have created a little bit of a stir on social media over the last couple of weeks. It's a women's technology conference here in the Twin Cities. It'll be our second time putting that on. We have over 200 people registered. I think over 250 people registered to attend. We've received like an outpouring of donations from individuals. We were on the fence whether this was going to happen or not because we were struggling to get corporate sponsorships, which is something we're still kind of struggling with. But as of basically today, we've decided that we're gonna push forward with it and put it on. So if you are local to the Twin Cities area, you can go to the moxiefoundation.org and sign up to attend the conference. You can also find information on how to support the conference with either your time or your dollars, which is probably the thing that we need the most. So thanks, Jim.
All right. And then May 23rd, we will be right back here in this room, virtually connecting to have our May edition of the Twin Cities Tableau User Group. Odds are we'll be talking a lot about Tableau conference at that session, but we'll be back here. Mark your calendars. Same time, March 23rd. Any other events, announcements people want to share, talk about? Things coming up that you're interested in or doing?
Kind of related, I think. Second half of April, Minnesota Analytics or Mini Analytics.
Mini Analytics?
Mini Analytics, they have an event.
Yeah,
So
what's
I think 19th of April. So if there are some analysts interested,
Sure.
I think they will focus on healthcare data primarily, but it might be
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Healthcare Data Science Conference, the Halicon.
how they call it.
Okay.
Halicon. Yep.
So that was Mini Analytics, Halicon, if you want to look that up, Healthcare Analytics.
April 19th.
April 19th is the date. Thank you. Yeah, Mini Analytics has some good sessions through the course of the year. They're kind of vertical focused, so
Yeah, they're usually topic focused, but they can be also very technical. Depending
yeah.
on the topic.
Yeah.
So
They do have wide range. Enjoy the latte. Come on in.
All right. All right. So one thing we like to do in our Twin Cities user group here is get to know people who are joining us, especially now as people are joining us from around the country and world for these meetings. This is a good way for us to get to know each other and who's coming. So I will take volunteers. This is not a very hard list of questions. Just introduce yourself to the group, basically. If you want to, I can't see the chat anymore, so if you want to like raise your hand, unmute yourself and jump in, or one of you all brave souls from the room want to introduce yourself to the group also, would be fine. we won't pick on Shawn or Tricia because they will introduce themselves to the group
Indeed.
in a
Sure.
second.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
All right.
My name is Louis Berger. I work for Gravy, which is a health benefits company located in Northeast Minneapolis. My role there is Director of Data Strategy and Analytics. So I oversee our reporting team that focuses on reporting out of Tableau, and our data analytics team, which is focused more on like ad hoc one-off analyses. So we analyze all sorts of different data in Tableau, focus a lot on claims data that we generate out of our own health plans and enrollment data, but also lots of other interesting data like call center data from our own call center, and so on. Let's see, I've been at Gravy for almost 6 years now. We've been using Tableau that whole time. I have never been the one in the weeds in Tableau. So for what are you good at in Tableau? Looking at the dashboards. But we just recently upgraded from server to cloud in the last month. And so very excited about Tableau Pulse and all of the new functionality that comes with that, and looking forward to learning more.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Do we get any virtual volunteers?
Oh, sorry.
If not, I'm happy to go next.
Yeah, we don't need everybody, but we can do a few.
We had a question. Someone had asked if the introductions were only for people attending for the first time. That would be no.
No, not at all.
Anybody can go. So,
Come off mute, don't be shy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even try to pronounce your name. So you should just come off mute and tell us how to pronounce it.
Okay, it's pronounced Oluwaseyi.
Alawashi. Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
I've been around for a while. So I work with microphones. They're at Hopkins. So about working remotely today, so that's why I did not come in person. So I do a lot of work in Tableau, so kind of working with the plan team, some of the guys on the sales side, and I do a little bit of RPA. So
What was the last part you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we lose you?
that's RPA, that's robotic process automation.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, all right.
Perfect. Well, what was it? Oh, can you pronounce your name again one more time for me, please?
Oluwaseyi.
Oh, well, shit.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so sorry about
It just means God did this.
this. Oh, okay. That's amazing. Well, I like it. It's wonderful to meet you. I'm happy to keep the circle of introductions going. So my name is Justine McLean. I actually work with Tricia at Salesforce on Tableau. So like her, I'm a solution engineer. And obviously, for very obvious reasons, I'm here to participate, hear what's going on. And I'm excited to hear Tricia talk, of course, because I adore her. Yeah. So anyways, nice to meet everybody. It's been a while since I've come. I think last time in person was, I don't even know. I had a baby last year, fell off the face of the earth for a while. Now she turned a year and I'm not feeling so out of sorts. So at least you can come back to the black and white world of Tableau, where, although I don't know how black and white it is anymore, it's certainly evolved quite a long ways, especially, oh my gosh, within the last year. It's insane, which I know we're going to talk about today, like this Pulse and
Yeah,
the transformation that the tool's clearly been going under the last few years.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel that as a consultant. So here at Daugherty, we're relatively tool agnostic. We are partners with a lot of different technologies. So that means I end up working on different technologies as I move around from client to client. And I haven't been hands-on in Tableau in a little while because I've just been on clients that have needed work on other technologies. So when I do come back to it, it's like, man, it's so much of it feels the same, and it's like but there's so much that I don't know about that it can do at the same time. So I'm also looking forward to getting caught up on some of these cool new features this month.
Oh,
All right, so with that, I am going to turn over control of this here machine or presentation to my colleague Shawn Moore, who works in Daugherty's St. Louis office. I'll let you introduce yourself, Shawn, but he is going to take us through a presentation on generative AI and Tableau Pulse.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone. So, as Jim said, Jim, can you see my screen?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. All right. So my name is Shawn Moore, and I work with Jim at Daugherty. I'm a principal consultant, and right now I have the Salesforce AI certification, the certified Tableau consultant. I am the organizer of the St. Louis Tableau User Group. All right. So right now we're here to, well, I'll give an overview of generative AI, and then we'll go into talking about Tableau Pulse. So that's the agenda. What is generative AI? Why it is important, and then Tableau Pulse. All right. So generative AI, it's a new technology. Well, it's been around for a while, but it's been all over the news. All the different vendors are talking about generative AI, and it is a family of deep learning algorithms that can automatically create new content such as text, imagery, code, voice, and even video. And in order to generate this content, the generative AI algorithms learn patterns and features from mass amounts of training data. And I think all of us have probably seen work with generative AI, whether it's in a web browser or ChatGPT or all the different technologies. All right. So you may have heard of machine learning and deep learning and generative AI before, but this is something new to me. I did not know that deep learning is a type of machine learning, and generative AI is a type of deep learning. And while some of these are sometimes used interchangeably, they are distinct types of AI. Machine learning leverages data to generate predictions, and that is the one that I was most familiar with. Predicting the outcome, predicting sales, and things like that. So the more data we feed into the machine learning system, the better it can predict. And then deep learning is a type of machine learning that uses complex algorithms or neural networks to learn and perform tasks without explicitly programming step-by-step instructions. The generative AI fits here under deep learning. And again, we've been interacting with these concepts probably daily, just like the autocomplete when you type it in some of the search engines where it's trying to guess in your next word. I think the emails do it now. The text messages do it now. I use Grammarly, it does it. But generative AI, it takes deep learning a step further. So here's the difference. So traditional deep learning methods use smaller neural networks to solve AI problems, such as those predictions and recognizes patterns. And generative AI is built upon large language models, or ALMs, or foundation models, which are essentially very large neural networks. And these neural networks include billions of parameters versus the millions of parameters for traditional AI. And these tiny interconnected decision-making elements, they give rise to the capability. It represents a huge increase over the traditional method. And while generative AI has been, has been in the spotlight lately, thanks to the release of ChatGPT, many of the roots and interactions of generative AI and conversational AI have been part of our daily lives for quite some time. So again, think about the search engines and text messages and emails. So why having such an inflection point now? There's more data. So there's a huge amount of data that is available today. The algorithms are better. It's better deep learning algorithms, and they have been developed to discover patterns within these large amounts of data. And this is something I had to think about, is the computing power, the large amount of computing power that makes it possible to process these sheer amounts of data required for generative AI. So that's an overview of generative AI. Now let's talk about why it is important. so it's creating new opportunities for businesses, and recent IT survey showed that 67% of IT leaders noted that they are prioritizing generative AI for the next 6 months. And that could have grown because this presentation is older. But businesses are excited about the potential of generative AI. And this makes it even more important that we understand the technology and how it can transform a business to operate. And we can bring that power of AI to our companies. So so businesses are excited because it could drive efficiency and productivity with the help of generative AI, and interacting with AI for the first time. It could really be a mind-blowing experience, and it can help you generate, again, everything from poems written in certain styles, creative email copywriting, to generate lines of code. And it's critical to use this technology responsibly. And I use ChatGPT on a daily basis. I use it. So I look at it as being my assistant. I look at it I use it to generate code. Say if I'm trying to write a complex SQL statement, if I put the right parameter in there, ChatGPT is normally able to help me out. Let's say if I want to do something even in Excel, I can use that feature to help me out. So I look at it as being, again, an assistant to me. Does anyone else out there use, say, some of the different tools to make their life easier as some sort of assistant?
Mhm.
ChatGPT and Pulse.
And Gemini, all
Okay.
the time.
All the time, yeah. It is some amazing technology. Yep.
Is it maybe
Cool.
control pilot stuff from Microsoft, like particularly like the meeting transcription thing?
I haven't downloaded that, but we were encouraged to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't used any of the Microsoft stuff, but yeah. Nah, I don't know about that one. But anyway, so with the whole generative AI thing and the power of it, there's a lot of responsibility behind it, and this responsibility is really crucial. And I think this is built into the fabric of, say, Salesforce, because they have their different principles of using AI responsibly. And of course, Tableau is part of Salesforce. So the first thing is trust. You want to make it clear when content is AI generated, and follow your company's guidelines around usage. One example is, I went to get some new glasses, and I had a question about I had a question about my bill, right? And when I started to chat online, it did tell me, hey, in a way, hey, you're chatting with an AI bot. And I did appreciate that because I really wanted to talk to a person. I got a little frustrated with it. So that still is a growing technology. I don't think it's perfect, but it is important that you let the person know that they are talking to a bot. Next, you want to protect your personally identifying information and proprietary company information. So with that security, when you're using these different tools, you don't want to put out, say, your recipe or any of your proprietary content. And next, you want to make sure it's accurate. So you always want to review and revise the generated content. So when I'm using ChatGPT, say if I use it to generate a letter, I make sure that I read that letter over and over until I get it the right way. Or get it to what I want it to say, because normally it is incorrect, but it will give me ideas of how I want to word that letter. And then there's the empowerment. So you want to use generative AI as an assistant. And I think I mentioned it earlier. It is my personal assistant, and it does give me a lot of ideas, and it shortens the time of certain tasks. Now, here are some common concerns about generative AI. So with any new technology comes new risks. So you can approach it with the understanding that there are limitations and common concerns. And here are a few of the main concerns. So there's hallucination. So it's a form of prediction, and sometimes the predictions are wrong. So it can give incorrect responses, or And with any AI generated text, it's important again to review that content and ensure that it's accurate and correct. Then there's data security. You want to protect your personal information and proprietary company information. So while using AI services, trust is critical. Then there's the big thing, plagiarism. I believe we've seen this all over the news. So the LLMs and AI models, the image generation are typically trained on publicly available data. And then there's the possibility that the model will learn a style and replicate that style. Another one is user spoofing. It's easier than ever to create a believable online profile, complete with AI generated pictures. Fake users like this can interact with real users. You can even replicate someone's voice in a very realistic way, and that makes it hard for businesses to identify bot networks that promote their own bot content, as well as people to identify what's real and what's not. And then there's the sustainability part. I mentioned earlier that it takes a lot of computing power. So that computing power requires to train AI models. It's a miss, and the processors doing the math require a lot of actual power to run. But as models gets bigger, so does the carbon footprint. But fortunately, once a model is trained, it takes relatively little power to process requests. And renewable energy is expanding almost as fast as AI adoption.
Hey, Shawn,
Mm-hmm.
can I add a sixth concern?
Yes. Yep.
Here? I think probably one that gets a lot of attention is just the concern around the proliferation of the bias that we know is baked into the data and the algorithms and right, like the homogeneousness of the people who have created those elements.
Yes, that's a good point. That is a great point. Because again, you could train a model on different data that can generate different biasness, and then you kind of don't want to have the same profile generating these models. You want that diversity and opinion and thought as far as that generating those models go. So that's a great point there. Yep. So that is a 6 point, and I will add that to this presentation if I give it again, because that's a great point. Thank you.
Yep.
So now that we know the approach of AI responsibility as well as some concerns, let's move on to how we can use generative AI or just get an overview of Tableau Pulse. And Pulse is out and available now. And for the folks in the room, you can add to it. It's only available if you have Tableau Cloud. And I know we are meeting with Tableau tomorrow to have Pulse turned on in our Daugherty environment. So they're going to show us how to turn it on and then give us an overview of how to create the metrics and all those different things. So for those in the room who are on cloud, you might want to reach out to your Tableau rep and maybe they can turn it on for you if it isn't turned on already. And for those of you who are on server, Tableau Pulse might be something to think about.
I'll show you how to turn on.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can test it using like Superstore data or just
Yeah, that's what I do.
You can do it. Yeah. So again, Tableau AI is the next generation of Tableau. It is a suite of capabilities that bring trusted generative AI to the entire Tableau platform to simplify and democratize data analysis and insight consumption at scale. So it's a way, hopefully, of making building out dashboards and answering questions easier, and maybe not depend so much on IT to create dashboards for you. So this is the landscape of ever-changing analytics. And I've been working in analytics over 20 years, and I've seen the messy and unmanageable spreadsheets it's going from those spreadsheets to interactive visualizations, the long reporting cycles to self-service analytics, and data as an afterthought to data as a strategic asset. And now we're going to a new phase where we're approaching the latest evolution in analytics. So analytics for everyone, so anyone can see and understand and act on their data. So we're trying to make this process much easier. So looking at this, we can see that there are still challenges. Business leaders with the complex, they're saying that this data is complex, is inaccessible, and is unaided. So big concern there. So there are challenges to overcome. And there are opportunities too. So new things, we're talking about generative AI today. I believe a lot of us are still working remotely. We have a lot of data. A lot of this data is complex. And then the market dynamics involved. There's a renewed focus on improving efficiency and all those different things. And businesses, they have, and using data to drive business performance is mission critical. We have customers to answer to. We want to make our employees happy. And then we have investors and shareholders and CFOs who have a stake in the business too, and what we're doing with the data. So looking at this, you see that what's the solution to this, or how do you adapt to it? And that's where Pulse comes in. So imagine a world where you receive a digested personal, you receive a digest personalized to your work with an automated summary, directing your focus to what matters. Then you dig into the details of specific metrics to see and understand what's happening. And then next, you can automate a key driver analysis. You can understand why things are off track. And if you have lingering questions, you can ask and get answers to them all in natural language. And finally, you can share your findings to get everyone on the same page to figure out the best next step. So all of these different things exist within Pulse. And, this is a new era for our industry. Analytics must become domain aware. And domain aware analytics means knowing who you are, all the context needed to deliver insights to experiences that are meaningful and relevant to who you are and what you do. And then experiences that understand the data, who has access to the data, how should this data be aggregated, where does the data come from. You want to understand the user, what's the person's role, and what systems do they live, what outcomes are they responsible for. And you want to understand the business. You want to know what topics does the data cover, what metrics matter to the organization, and what goals are we trying to achieve. So what if AI could transform analytics? And there you have Tableau Pulse. So to address these challenges, Tableau came up with Pulse, and Tableau Pulse reimagines analytics to make it personalized, contextual, and smart. And Pulse is going to help customers. It helps customers transform outcomes with metrics that matter to them. Customers get a curated set of metrics and insights personalized to their work so that they can discover new opportunities, get ahead of issues, and make better decisions. And then there's Tableau AI. And for the Tableau folks, I don't believe Tableau AI is out yet, or Copilot, but it's something new, and it's going to add an extra element to Pulse.
No, we spell it different. But yes, I will demo a little bit of Copilot too.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. Thanks. That would be good. Are you going to do a demo of Tableau Pulse too? I'm not able to do a demo, but I was going to show a video of a demo. So I'll leave the demo to you.
Okay, I can.
That works. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
That's why they paid me the big bucks.
So with personalization, there's a personalized focus on what matters with metrics relevant to the end user. And when we see the demo, maybe we'll go over how to create a metric, because the data is out there and it could be overwhelming. So when you create these metrics, I believe these metrics can be shared among the organization, and they could be delivered where you sit, where maybe within Slack or any mobile or any other place. And it's contextual. So we all use a variety of applications to do our work today, and it is making it difficult to keep track and where you saw an important KPI. So it's easy to miss a critical insight. So Tableau Pulse is going to bring all this together and again, make our life easier. And it's smart. So it's going to identify and communicate insights with Tableau AI. And today, making sense of data can be time consuming and a manual process. There's so many times where when I create a report or deliver a report to someone, they, depending on who the end user is, they have a lot of different questions about that data. And we want to make that easier so that everyone understands that data and how to use it. And that can increase in performance. And so here's a overview of the architecture. So we have the metrics layer, we have the insights platform, and then we have the next gen experiences. So maybe we'll see something like that more during the demo.
Yep.
So I'm gonna skip this slide. We're gonna get a demo. But I want to thank everyone for listening in on the presentation there. Yep. And we can go around with questions, or we can go on to the next presentation. And since they're related, we can have questions afterwards.
Well, maybe we'll pause here for questions, Shawn.
Okay, let's do that. Yep.
I know I've got.
Yeah, I have one too. So,
Okay.
We go ahead. Yep. It could be an open discussion.
I agree.
Well, okay, so my question might, it's a big one, and I know I don't want to like derail us. Let's do it because we got time. We got to make sure we've got time for Tricia. But you know, it's like you see like how cool it would be if you could just ask your data, right? If you could just open up a web browser and be like, you know, what are my sales going to be next quarter? You know, and I think anybody who's actually worked in the data industry for any amount of time will know that like you can't just put lipstick on a pig when your pig like doesn't even have a mouth, and that's you know, like, so let's just be honest, right? Like some people's data, most people's data, is just not ready for that. It is a hot dumpster fire, and they haven't done the cataloging. They don't have the business logic documented, right? Like it's just, they have so much work to do to get their house in order for them to get any real value out of something like Pulse or any of that stuff. So I'm just curious, what is Tableau seeing or doing to counteract that? And then like from people who work, you know, in their own companies or consulting firms, like what are you guys seeing and doing about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the age-old story is still garbage in and garbage out.
Yeah.
That has not changed. AI doesn't make that any better. Pulse doesn't make that any better or anything like that. So we don't kind of, disguise it as lipstick that we're putting on a pig. So we don't have a lot of conversations, but customers are very aware that data governance is huge for them, and talking about master data management things, all things that your companies know need to happen so that your data is good and can go through these models properly, so that we don't have to worry about like hallucinations in and of themselves are difficult to worry about and think through, versus if your data is already no good. So yeah, no disguised mask about what our tools can do above and beyond. But also when you're going through creating something like Pulse and you see like, oh, actually this isn't right, something is wrong, people still can recognize that in their own data sets. Mm-hmm. And we do put disclaimers. I'll show Pulse, I'll open it up. There is a disclaimer at the top, just like in ChatGPT, that says, you know, use this wisely and there could be errors and, you know, all these types of things. So that doesn't go away. We're still humans. yes, use with caution. So yeah, it happens before Tableau, right? Like Tableau does, can do so much with Prep Builder and all of that to help clean data and give you a better look into it. But if it's coming out of your ERP system looking like garbage, that's what you're going to get. Shawn, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I had a question about it, and it's a question I've been getting. Does Pulse work with regular Tableau data sources, or is it something totally different?
Oh, good question. So it works with data sources that you have in Tableau Cloud today, and they need to be an extract refresh data source or a live data source. So it can't just be a static Excel file or anything like that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and can you bring your own model to Tableau Pulse? Or how does, I guess, is that the Tableau AI portion? Because I
Good
know in
question.
Salesforce you have models, and I think you can bring your own model. How does Tableau Pulse work with the models?
Yep. So Tableau Pulse just works off of the Einstein model. It's not a bring your own model as of today. And
Okay.
I haven't in the roadmap, so it's not like something that's going to come in our next release in June. But I know future down the road, we have big plans for Pulse, of course. And I want to ask kind of the group, maybe who's on Tableau Cloud today? You are?
We are.
Yes, Daugherty is perfect. Come off of mute if you want. Otherwise, in the chat, let me know if your company or you're utilizing Tableau Cloud today. Just want to know. I think you can raise your hand. Okay, cool. Nobody in the chat?
Yeah.
Oh.
Lana.
Oh, Lana. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Shawn.
Okay. No, I was going to ask a totally different question. I was going to say, how does the conversion process from server to Pulse look? But you can answer that later, I guess.
You mean what is?
Yeah. So let's say if I'm a Tableau server client,
Yep.
and we go to these presentations and we say, hey, boy, this is something I really want to look at. How do I go about going from Tableau server to Tableau Pulse? I'm assuming there's some sort of conversion that happens.
For sure. So I will introduce myself too, so everybody knows who I am and where I'm coming from. But hello, my name is Tricia Hovland. I'm a solution engineer for Tableau, lead solution engineer, supporting our enterprise manufacturing business. So I work with companies like GE, all of GE Healthcare, Vernova, Aerospace, companies like that are doing large manufacturing. And so a big push at Tableau, which if you work with an account team, you will know we are really wanting to push customers to migrate from their current server to Tableau Cloud, because obviously Tableau Cloud is only where Pulse and Copilot will live. And as far as we know, it may never make its way to Tableau server. Again, roadmap doesn't say it will or won't, but we're kind of under and again, I'm very open with the user group. Everything is safe harbor that I say when it comes to the future, but from what we understand as a sales team, that it might never go to Tableau server. So Justine, who's also in the room as a solution engineer, we work all the time with customers, helping them simply migrate your Tableau server to Tableau Cloud. Now, that's a big ask of a lot of customers. There certainly are, it's not a one-to-one product, right? We're asking customers to go to a SaaS solution. They might not be comfortable with that. They might not have a lot of data on the cloud anyways, so they have to utilize Tableau Bridge, all of those things, right? But the benefits really pay off for our customers that go through the migration process. Again, because that's where you can utilize Pulse.
Tricia, there's a question in the chat.
Okay.
And I think I've heard this one before from organizations, like people who want to test out Pulse within a small group instead of organization before making it widely available. How do they do that?
Yeah, let me share my screen. Okay. You into it. Shawn, if you want to, thank you very much. Yep. All right, and I think I'll lose the chat once I.
Yes.
Inception. Okay, cool. So this can be a very informal discussion. And I'm going to.
I have battery insecurity for you.
Share my chargers in my backpack, but for now we'll just kind of leave it. All right, so I'm going to jump around to just a couple different sites that work well for some of these demo purposes, but I'm going to go to this Gray Matter site. So I've been using this site to demo for a really long time. If anyone is a big Breaking Bad fan, they'll understand my Gray Matter reference, but this is my Gray Matter manufacturing company.
What do they manufacture, Tricia?
Yeah. Today they're going to manufacture bikes. But okay, when I come down to settings, now again, I am the site admin of this particular site. When I come down here, And now for those on the phone not familiar with Pulse, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of step-by-step. It was just released a month ago, a little less than a month ago. And so we are getting a lot of voice of the customer coming in. There are a lot of things we know need fixing. There are certainly bugs, but we push the product out. And, I love doing that. I like that we kind of work a lot like Apple does. I won't say the Microsoft word, because I work for Salesforce, but right, like when the product was ready, we released it, and there are still new things that we're like pushing out all the time, which is super fun. So this is a fairly newer feature, did not get released initially. So right here, I'm on the general tab, and again, and for the Daugherty people, you can just turn it on. So Pulse can be turned on for all your users, or you can specify a group. So this is where you do some testing. If you do have an existing Tableau cloud environment, and hopefully you're utilizing groups, that's an excellent way to manage your users on the site. So you can see here I have a finance and an automotive and an all users. So maybe I want to create, or maybe I'd have a test group or a demo group ideally. But let's say I want my finance group to test Pulse because they have data that's pretty good. We've talked about it. They know how to use it. I can simply allow my finance individuals to utilize that. For my site, I let all of my users take a look at it. And then if you scroll down even further, another checkbox that I suggest kind of reading our fine print here, and I'll show you what this means when I go into a little bit of a demo. But we can enable Pulse insight summaries to generate AI key metrics using that natural language. So a few years ago, if you remember, we had that Ask Data product that we have since gotten rid of and brought in metrics in Pulse. That came about when we purchased a company called Generative Science. And so again, we're still kind of using that technology, and I'll show that to you in the insight summary, but this is probably something you also want to turn on. I'm going to save this on this site. And then also for those kind of new to the product is you'll see Tableau Pulse lives in its own tab on the left-hand side here. So when I open that up, and I have no metrics that I use on this site. I use a different site that we'll go into. But what I really wanted to show you, because I know it lives here, is at the top. It says you're about to use Tableau AI. What does that mean? Again, review output for accuracy and safety. Trust but verify, always with AI. You can hit got it and kind of move on from there. But all your users will see that notification, which I think is very important to know that you're not just like jumping into this AI journey blind, that you also need to be human and do your due diligence. Any questions or comments about that?
Nope, that's pretty cool.
Okay, awesome. So one really annoying thing that, I'm going to talk about like simply some of the downfalls that are in the product today, because again, it's very new. Now there's lots of very fun, shiny things, but something the team is working on that will come is there's no home button here. So I can't go back to my Tableau page. I have to literally go back to it. So they're putting in a home button. But for now, it's very confusing because you want to push. I want to click on this top left-hand like Tableau icon, right? But that doesn't do me any good. So I will go back. I'm going to switch sites so we can talk a little bit about, we'll go over a general demo, and then maybe I'll show briefly how we set up a metric. So let's go to our demo verse. Now, again, in my line of work, I work with a lot of manufacturing companies. I work with a lot of people that are on the floor doing scrap type work, a lot of supply chain teams. So that will kind of be our example today. So I'm going to go into Tableau Pulse, where I already have some metrics that I'm following. So this is what the interface looks like. Now here at the top is where I was talking about, I turned on that insight summary option so I can see this insight summary at the top. You can turn this feature off, but it's very nice because another excellent feature of Tableau Pulse is that it's kind of mobile first. Is anyone using Tableau Mobile, even if you're on server or cloud? Oh, good. Hopefully some folks are. So, and we use Pulse to really push a lot of our customers to Tableau Mobile, and I can show a demo of that too, what it looks like on my actual mobile screen in the app. But that insight summary, right? It's like, I think of it as, I'm a millennial, right? I wake up in the morning, I grab my phone, and I'm looking at things. I like to look at what maybe my stocks are doing for the day, although that can be a little scary to start your day that way. But, I'm getting like some really quick hit information on like what I want to know for the day. I might get like some news clippings that I take a look at. What's the weather like? Now I'll pick up my Salesforce phone, which is right here, and I get Pulse metrics sent to me, just like this. Now I'm on the sales team, so I might be looking at opportunities, things I need to focus on. Is my pipe looking healthy for the day? All of that good stuff. But for this particular example, let's say again, I work in supply chain, operations manager, something like that. So really quickly, I can see a few quick hit items that Tableau is telling me. So it looks like my customer satisfaction has dipped. I have some production shortage percent that has peaked at this 27.9%, and that my product shortage amount has reached an alarming number. And again, this is not text I put in. I simply created these metrics, and there are, I think I'm looking at like 7 or so. Tableau is calling out to me and ordering what it believes I need to know for the day. So my sales has really dipped from last month. So I'm at 40% less. I'm, lost 1.6 million from my prior month. That's very alarming to me, something I need to know. I'm gonna have to take some action on that, but I might continue on. Looks like my product shortage is up. Also, not a good thing, above the range here. Again, my customer satisfaction is down, and we can kind of keep going. Inventory value, these all look pretty steady. Tells me it's trending up, so on and so forth. So I might want to dive into this sales number, like what the heck is going on? And maybe I want to know something like, I'm going to hit adjust at the top, and maybe I want to see where we were like last year or quarter. So let's take a look at last quarter, see what this looks like. Oh, this is something too that I always forget, is I have to hit this check mark. I'll sit here like it's not rendering, and then there it is. Okay, so like quarter over quarter, this is looking a little bit better, but still I might want to dive into it. So what Tableau provides me is some questions that I might want to pre-ask. So again, not questions I put in, just suggestions via Tableau. That's kind of that augmented analytics piece. And I might want to know which product category had really high sales. So where am I doing well? Looks like, again, this data set has to do with some bikes that we're selling. So we have road and gravel bikes and electric bikes. That's great to know. It's also going to provide me kind of a trend line at the bottom here, tell me like where I might be going in upcoming quarters, which is kind of nice. Now, a feature that's not in QA today, but I have access to coming out in June, is this natural language ask feature. So this is kind of nice because I might want to ask questions of something it needs to be in the data set, but maybe it's not something that Tableau is calling out. We can see like product category, we can see country. We might want to look at something like state. So we can start asking questions of our data here, which is kind of nice. Again, this is what the feature will look like, but it's not in GA quite yet. Then we can continue to break this down if we have further questions. So Tableau is going to start to break it down for me. Again, it says, hey, I think you need to look at it by country, but maybe I really just want to look at it by product. It's giving me kind of the average at the bottom. Now, again, this might be helpful. It might not be for this particular metric we're looking at, but Tableau does auto-generate that. And then I can continue to ask questions, and Tableau will continue to build and ask me new questions. So it kind of re-racks after I say, which country had the high sales. Again, it's going to continue to build these bar charts. I didn't choose the color. I didn't do anything like that. Tableau is just generating them for me. Now, the cool thing on mobile, which again, I can jump into if anyone's interested, is from here. So we utilize Slack because Salesforce owns Slack. So I might say, hey, Justine, we have some numbers for sales that we need to look at here. I can simply forward this on to her. I don't have that feature here, but I can have her follow this. I can share it with her here. But right in mobile, I could say, pull Justine's name up out of my Slack and say, hey, take a look at our last quarter numbers. These are looking good, but our year over year is looking terrible. Can you help me figure out why we're not trending correctly? So again, that's the action that Pulse allows. That's like when I worked for a manufacturing company previous, it was always like dashboards are super good, but I want to make action after those dashboards, right? Is it sending you back to Salesforce? Is it, XYZ? Do you need to go on the supply chain, talk to someone? Do you need to be on the manufacturing floor? So this really helps take action again on data instead of just spending your time inside of dashboards, which again, dashboards are good. Pulse is quick hit.
Question.
Perfect.
So I'm going to rephrase a little bit.
Okay.
But it's about like having all client data in a single cloud instance, and like, is there any way to keep data silo?
Yeah, good question.
In Pulse?
Yep. So what I think is what exists today is not that. So right, but like I am following what I need to follow, and we still control that level of governance. So like if you don't have access to my supply chain data, you can't see my supply chain metrics. Still governed there. Now, what I'd like to happen is currently Tableau Pulse, as you see, it's kind of like in its own window here. I would like to see us move these metrics into like projects within Tableau Cloud. Again, just a, kind of an added layer of security, but we still keep all row level security, all type of governance. And then, so what I can do is, let's say this last month metric's really important to me, and I want Justine to see it as well, or someone on my team, I can add followers to it. Now, if for some reason I let's see, I think Justine will be in here. Maybe it won't let me add anybody in this demo site. So if I want to add someone, I can do that. But if they don't have access to this data, it's just going to be, maybe that's why, is because I'm the only one looking at this right now. But
So if you've got your data security set up.
correct,
correctly,
their name will be grayed out.
it should. But when, like, let's just say when it calculates averages or percentages, is it doing that within that?
Good question. Yeah, let's go into maybe making of a metric.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking more like ChatGPT. You can specify how you want it calculated or analyzed.
But do you have to go to the step of doing that, or will it do it automatically? Like
Well,
if it's
I
gonna.
wonder if it, I mean, I was gonna ask a question more like, does it actually learn what user wants over time? So if you have certain set of metrics provided, let's say regularly, and since it recognizes each user, and everybody can have different needs and what they want to see. My question is more, does it actually work in like paid version of GPT, where it actually gets to know you a little bit, even though, we say don't share personal info. If you're giving credit card number to pay for it, it knows who you are, but basically sees what you are asking, how you are asking, how you would like things answered or delivered, and so on. And I'm wondering if this is actually aimed to do the same thing.
For sure. So some Tableau server and cloud, a little bit, is already smart when you like log in. So it will let me know, and I was hoping it was on this page, through metadata. Obviously I can share my favorites, I can see my recents, but there's also another feature there that says like, I recommend or recommended, right? And it's like, hey, you want to look at, I think you've been interested in sales. Have you seen this new sales dashboard or this new data set? So within Pulse, we got to think about things a little bit differently because there are some limitations here. So when I'm asking questions of the data and when I'm looking at those augmented questions that Tableau provides me, it's only asking questions of that data source. It is not going out and saying, oh, I think that your supply chain data is also related to this data set, and vice versa. So that's something that I really wish, and I think potentially could come, is that I'm not just asking my Pulse questions off of that data set I chose. I can ask it of all the data I have access to within Tableau, right? And then another thing to note is that within Pulse and any AI product within Tableau Online, we are not pulling in external data. It is just your data that we're looking at. These models do not need to be trained. Something that Shawn was kind of mentioning is the kind of layer of from deep learning all the way down to generative AI. And generative AI needs to be trained, but for these things, we're just looking at trend values. So there's no training needed for these models. And if you utilized Einstein within Salesforce, that is the engine that Pulse was built off of. So kind of a lot there, but let's talk about how we can build out a metric. So
While you're doing that,
yeah.
Linda, did that answer your question?
Did she give us a thumbs up? Oh, good.
Yeah, her question was specifically like, can we have multiple versions of Pulse within a single Tableau Cloud instance?
Yeah, that's a great question. It does not exist today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hard no.
Yep. I don't know what the future looks like there. But you could always reach out to your team and try to get a roadmap discussion and ask those questions and see if we can get to the answers.
Or maybe, the data role based or row level security. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, possible.
She said thanks.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, there's, again, as like my background is in data analytics, I was an analyst. So I always come to this looking from that perspective and sometimes a little lost in the weeds because I'm on the sales side now and I just simply want to help individuals and I want you to be utilizing Pulse and I want to make it better. We are taking in so many voice of the customers right now with this product. Again, because we pushed it out knowing that it's not like 100% baked, right? There are, and you saw I got an error message there. I would expect to see an error message. I would expect it just to tell me like, you can't do this today. So yeah, lots of things being worked out, but
Which is why it's free.
yes, totally, which is why it is free. And for those that are on Tableau Cloud, you can turn it on and use it. But of course, you want the product to be the best it can be. And there are nuances that I'll call out maybe just a couple other things, like the home button. That's just annoying to me. But all right, let's build a metric. So I'm going to use this. This is a demo I used for Honda. So before I came over to the manufacturing team, I worked on with our automotive customers. And so this was something built directly for them. So we were looking at, we all get this in the mail. No doubt I get emails about it too. Your vehicle warranty is up in 6 months and buy from us. So we were doing some warranty information with Honda. They sell their own warranty for their vehicles. So here's what I can do. I'm actually going to go down here and do claim amount. So we'll see if this works, because one thing to note with Pulse is that you cannot create a metric if it already exists. So there might be one here that already exists. We'll find out. It'll tell me. It'll yell at me.
But I guess you can copy and edit the existing metric and make a variation.
Yep, if you own it, you can. Yep, exactly. And all these metrics, that I've done before, I could always go back and delete one. But so I'm just calling this claim amount test. It's asking me for a description. Again, I would get kind of a little bit more detailed here on maybe what this is, but for testing purposes, I'm selecting the measure. You can see here, our measures, of course, are in green with a little pound sign here. I'm going to do claim amount. Then we get the option of how we want to look at this data. So I'm going to say I want to look at it by sum. I'm not sure. We might want to come back and change that to average. We'll see. And then we have running total versus non-cumulative. So these are standard definitions that we use for what a running total is. Non-cumulative, if you've been in Tableau for a while, hopefully those make sense to you. Again, I'll keep running total. We'll kind of see how this goes. Now we can start asking it to put some filters in if we want. I don't really need to. I don't need to like remove a specific city or anything like that, or group, anything like that. So I'm not going to put any filters. I'm going to look at all my data in the data set. Now, Tableau is kind of asking me about what I want to compare this to. So it says prior period, prior year, and then we get a little bit of a, hey, check this out. It says the compared to definition setting has replaced the option to set a time comparison on individual metrics. So I'm fine with the time. And again, if I hover over this, kind of tells me what I'm doing. But again, these are things you have to play around with, just like see what comes up. One really nice feature is, let's say that the metric I want doesn't live within the data set, and I want to create a calculation in the data set, and I want Pulse to be built off of that calculation. I can do that here. So this interface is going to look really similar to like Tableau Desktop, right? Or the web edit function within, but it does not act the same. And we have documentation on this, but really what it wants me to do is to create a calculation. So, maybe even though I'm using sum of my claim amount, I wouldn't create sum of claim amount here. I would just use the features in the Pulse. But maybe I want to look at some kind of aggregate of something, a type of parameter. I can do all of that here. Now, if I start like dragging and dropping in here, it's going to kind of like, at some point it will give me errors. And you can see I don't have my my pill fields here, my boxes up here. So it's just like, basically it's giving me this visual field so that I can just test, is my calculation correct? It's not going to save the visual anywhere or anything like that. It's just going to allow me to create a calculation, apply it, and move on so I can use it in my measures. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, some things to play around with. This interface is, really new, very Tableau-like, but definitely new. So I kind of passed over this, but I need to select a time dimension. I'm going to use new date. Again, I built out this data set, so I'm kind of familiar with it. So here we go. Already Tableau kind of provided us what this Pulse metric looks like. Nothing I can kind of do to make changes here, but I can start saying, okay, I know my teams who are going to care about this claim amount. They're really going to want to see things by city and dealer name. So really this is all this information is going to go to my auto dealer so they can see who needs warranties, what our claim amounts look like, etc. So I'm just going to kind of lead Tableau into saying, I really want to see questions about how I can break this down by city and dealer. Then again, down here, we could, if we were looking at a percentage, we could add that in. For this purposes, we're just looking at a sum, so number is fine. So I'm going to save definition. And then here is the error that I got. Knew it was coming. So it says that this already exists. So I've already created a metric. We'll just go look at it for claim amount. So it's going to say like, I'm not going to create a metric over the top of what already exists. So good example to kind of walk through, but I could have known that this was going to come up, which is nice, right? We don't want to be creating 20 claim amount metrics because we can go into the Pulse or the Pulse metric itself and change the date and do all of that. So I don't need to create one that says year over year, you know, month, date, quarter, all that kind of stuff. We don't need to be doing that. We can do it right in the Pulse. Let's go back. Yeah, here's the claim amount. So, okay, this is, let's say it all was kosher. We did good. And this is what we're looking at. Again, it's going to provide me, you know, say, hey, dealer name. I told it that I wanted to look at dealer name. And so it's saying like, yep, that is important. We can see some information here about the San Jose dealership has the most claims increase, yada, yada, kind of go down. Now, a couple things we can do here is if I go into my preferences, this is where Pulse gets to be also like really nice because it will, you know, send just like Tableau will do if we have any alerts or subscriptions. I can send it to my Slack and my email. I can do it on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Now, we hope to see things like Teams come into play here, right? Like, you know, even though Microsoft is not Salesforce's friend, we really want this to be able to go to Teams. I'll show you what it looks like in my Slack. And then right now, our only option for when these get sent to you, I think I get sent mine at like 6 a.m. in the morning, is to have a drop down here where you could schedule when you want these sent to your email or when you want them sent to your Slack. So again, features that are coming, but for now, it's just a little bit limited. Yes.
You mentioned you guys are pushing this to be on the phone.
Yes.
Mobile. So I mean, the way I see it, I mean, I'm guessing again, at some point it won't be pushed. You will just, what you said earlier, open your phone, start your phone, open the app, Tableau Pulse, and just look at it in real time whenever you want, right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
That would be, yeah, so the, yes, I think lots of innovations like that are to come. I'm just giving my phone a second here. I'll show you what it looks like on mobile. Oops, didn't mean to click that button. We'll give it another sec here.
And Tricia, there's kind of a neat way to do Pulse and show what it looked like on multiples. If you were to go and I think all computers do this, so I might be wrong on this, but if you right click in your, and you know what, looks like you got it going. So if you want to go that way,
Good.
I'll just show you.
Yep, all good.
Go.
We'll continue this for now. Okay, so you can see, here's the Tableau mobile app. And for those who do use this, I know a lot of our customers don't utilize the app. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see I now have access to that Pulse icon. If I click on that, again, we're going to go back to this demo that I showed earlier when we were talking about some supply chain and sales type information. So let's say, again, I scroll down, I take a look at my sales. I'm like, this doesn't look good. Something that I want to share, again, with Justine. So I can come up here to that share button, and there she is. I can send her a Slack message. And it will point her back to this metric. And so I might want to ask her some questions of it, you know, and then she can play and do her own kind of analysis within that Pulse metric. So that's kind of a nice feature on mobile. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. Any questions, comments, concerns, anxieties about Pulse?
So, yeah, I had a question, Tricia. So you created the metrics, and Pulse chooses which dashboard to create or which how to display the data?
Yep, so you would subscribe to them. So let's say right here I'm following claim amount. Let's say I want to look at something like attach rate. Then I could also follow this. And when I go back, you can see what I'm following.
Okay. So the line chart, a developer did not have to develop that.
Correct.
That image. Pulse did it, right? And then
Got
Pulse generates the image so that you can view it on the phone, a tablet, or computer. So all that's taken care of?
Yep. You
Okay.
got it.
Yep.
Yep, no development on that end.
Okay.
Then again, in the future, I'm thinking again in GPT world, you should be able to specify what kind of chart you want to see too.
Yep, it doesn't exist today either. Yep, no, they're just the pipe charts. And then the bar charts when you kind of ask for
And
more
the feature
detail.
that you guys are releasing in June, where you have essentially language commands, those will become, I'm guessing, also voice commands at some point, right? So you should be able just to tell it instead of typing.
Sure. Yeah, I think that might come as well. So then I think that's a good transition quickly into talking about Copilot, which is very new, not in GA. We just got access to it in a demo site. I haven't played around with it for a while, but I'm going to put this in the chat, this page for everyone to take a look at. I'm going to scroll down and show you what it looks like here, and then I'm going to dive into our dev environment. So let's see. It's not playing the Vine here, but no worries. Okay, so Pulse is going to be brought into, you can see kind of here in the background, we're looking at Prep Builder. And so this individual, let's say, you know, they have a complex question that they want to ask, or they want the data set to do within Pulse. So this individual is saying, can you extract customer postal codes from the mailing address? Just asking in natural language. And Copilot is bringing back a regex expression that it wrote to solve for that issue. So this is Copilot in action. It's going to kind of automate and create in Prep Builder. It's going to look at things like writing expressions for your calculations.
So it's only for Prep Builder?
Nope. It is also in desktop. So, oh yeah, okay. So here, this one is a Vine for me. Correct. So this is really meant for the analyst, whereas Prep is something that's really meant for kind of the layperson in Tableau. And we see a lot of executives in leadership like Pulse because they can get it on mobile, really quick hits. They can go into dashboards if they want, but they don't have to. And then they can kind of share out and take action accordingly. So again, this is where I think we're looking at Superstore data set in this particular Vine. I'm going to share this link with everyone so you can see what I see. But I'll quickly jump into Copilot. You'll see our Copilot mascot is the Einstein. That came to us from Salesforce. So I don't know if it's always going to be called Copilot because I'm not on the marketing team, but someone forgot that Microsoft also has a Copilot product. So we'll see. But for now, it's called Copilot. For those of you going to look at some of those online parts of the Tableau conference, I think Copilot will probably, have its best foot forward at the conference. You'll be able to learn a lot more than what I'm able to tell you today. But I figured because I'm here and I have access to an environment, bring this back here. I think I lost my connection for a sec. All right, I'm going to.
You probably don't know this, Tricia, but
Mhm.
Lana asked if Copilot will be like Pulse is. I replied and said I wouldn't bet on it.
I won't bet on it either. Fortunately, I would not. All
I
right.
would have been like, yeah, for sure. We want everyone to have that. Like, we want everyone to have Pulse. Don't
course.
listen to me. I might be the optimist.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I know that you guys would start charging for Pulse too. Mark my words.
Yep. So we did see a bit of a roadmap. I won't quote anything that I saw.
Give him the cocaine.
I know. I know.
Charge him for it.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. So it would be kind of like a premium type,
Like the free ChatGPT.
Correct.
I think exactly, that's.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's kind of where we're going. I know. Yeah. Okay, so you guys could kind of see what I'm clicking into here, but I just opened up a dashboard. I'm going to go into the edit feature. I'm doing this just in the web edit functions. This is one of our development areas. And then I'm going to open up a workbook. Excuse me, a sheet. Should use proper terminology here. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Maybe we can use what we already have. So Einstein's already telling me don't know where to start. Einstein can help you generate AI to explore your data. So you can see he was grayed out before when I'm just looking at a dashboard. So I need to be in a sheet so I can have access to the data. I'm going to go ahead and click on him. And Again, this is not GA, very safe harbor here. We don't know what this will look like in GA, but this is what it looks like for us internally to develop on right now. I have not played around with this. I'll be honest, a lot, because I'm waiting for the ability to do so with my customers, but I figured for you guys, we could just kind of test it out. So Einstein will use natural language to generate something. And if I already have something in the view, I'm very curious to know. Let's just ask it a question. Again, this is some Airbnb data in San Francisco. I'm not overly familiar with it, but we'll kind of walk through something together. So it looks like we're looking at things by price, some neighborhoods here. So maybe I want to say, what are the top 10
Where are you typing?
neighborhoods? Can you see?
Oh,
Sorry.
I can see it in the,
Let me. Oh gosh.
no, you're fine, you're fine. Everyone else can see it except for the people in the room.
Sorry guys, I'm asking it.
She is.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't see it.
Yeah, sorry.
It's down below.
Okay, so I'm saying, what are the top 10 neighborhoods by price? Don't worry, nothing's happening. Maybe I got it. I have been told that it could be very slow in our environment. Oh, here we go. Okay, I just had to hit got it. And now I'm just asking. We could be here for a minute. We'll find out. This is what happens when you do things live and on the fly. I'm curious to see if it's going to like give me a bar chart of what's instead of this map. And we can open up a new sheet and like ask this question. Oh, things are happening. And I ask the question all over again. So it gave us nothing. It says, I've updated the viz to show average price for each neighborhood sorted by descending.
Maybe give it a second, Tricia.
It could be true. We could go to the next page and ask again. Okay, let's just go open up a new one. Because that was just kind of interesting.
Maybe do a price per square foot. Saw that one in that.
Oh, did you?
In there too, yeah. Looks like, which
So
neighborhoods have the highest price per square foot or something.
okay. And I wonder how exact I need to be on the actual name of the measure.
Tricia, maybe do like a control minus on your browser. That might make it
Yeah.
minus. Yeah, there you go. No.
Okay, so it said, I'm sorry, but I can't generate the visual you're asking for because the necessary fields for price. Okay, so this is telling me that I probably need to put in price per square foot, like.
Oh, right. I thought I saw that on there though.
Interesting. Let's just
Maybe I
do it.
lied.
It's okay.
It
Let's
was
just do it by
very
Yeah, it's
price.
kind of nice. It's giving us some like indication. Let's hope they're like slow. But
Which neighborhoods have the highest price? And I'll even capitalize price, which I believe in Copilot makes no difference versus regular Tableau where
You have to get case sensitive.
you got it. Yeah. I played with a Spotify data set, which was kind of fun. So I asked it like, okay, cool. I asked it like, which artists were the top played in 2023, and it gave me 10 artists, and of those, I knew one of them. And I was like, oh, apparently I don't know what people listen to on Spotify.
One of the two of us is wrong here.
Yeah. Okay, so it gave us neighborhoods by max price. So I believe I can, maybe now ask some type of follow-up. Let's think about. I want to kind of like push it a little bit.
Maybe can you ask it like,
I want to ask it to be like a map instead.
Oh, yeah. Or
Maybe.
you could ask like which one has the widest variation between min and max.
Let's see.
You do what you want. Follow your heart. Don't listen to me.
Let's keep asking like as an analyst, I wouldn't want to ask it this question, but as a normal human being, I might want to ask it this question.
What did you ask?
just what neighborhoods have the highest variation. And I probably should have said in price, like year over year or something, but maybe we'll walk into it.
Well, Lana's asking if is there a time frame for this for Copilot to be GA, or even is it in beta? Or?
So we have customers, yes,
Okay.
using it in beta. As far as I know, they get to see what I see today. So I would guess we have, some of our top, like Red Hat. I used to support Red Hat. They're one of our top customers. They have it in beta. So a lot of large customers are trying to test it out, right? We want them to break it. We get voice of the customer back, then we go through that development cycle. And I would say we all will hear at Tableau conference when it's coming, but that I don't know. I hope in June, that's like the 243 release. I'm trying to use the Salesforce language for releases, so we're no longer like 2024.1. We will eventually go into these 243, 244 type releases. Let's say. I just said, can you make this into a map?
Nope.
Nope. Doesn't like that. Could be on my server end too. Again, this is a dev server.
So maybe I missed it, but did you have to bring the metrics that you were going to ask it questions about onto the sheet before you asked your question?
I did not.
It did that.
Yep, it was a
Okay.
blank sheet. We'll just ask this one more time and then we can kind of move on. Okay, doesn't like that. Oh, good. Yeah, sorry I didn't come with a well-baked thing, but it's kind of fun just to like test and break it because this is real life for what Einstein is right now. And again, I would like to show it to you in Prep Builder. I do not have access to that, but I see that being really powerful, again, for kind of like the layperson, non-analyst who doesn't even know, what regex is, and to ask questions of that, and then just to get that calculation output back is kind of nice. Questions, comments?
Are there any questions from crew online?
And Shawn, I appreciate you sharing the slides that you did in that presentation. I had something really similar lined up. Our slides are like identical, right? You get the same nice content that I do. Yep,
Yes.
so
Yeah. Well, because I'm the organizer of the St. Louis Tableau User Group, Tableau provides us presentations in a box. So
yes.
it's a recycled presentation.
I have I think an updated one that must have come out at the beginning of the year, but the content's still the same. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. Those presentations in a box are really handy when you can't find a speaker. So
yeah, super true. All right. So for anyone else on the phone, I think most of you I don't know. A lot of new names to me. Sorry if I met you in the past. But when it comes to Pulse, of course, if you're already on Tableau online, you showed how I can kind of turn it on and I can, do a test group if I wanted to. If you're on server and you would like to push your company kind of to the cloud, you have to go through proper channels and, someone like me or Justine would come in to make sure that we do kind of a readiness assessment and all of that good stuff. But leveraging the use of AI so that your company can kind of check that off the box with Pulse and Copilot is a really nice way. We're seeing a lot of customers be able to move to Tableau Cloud. So kind of a fun thing there. Again, everything I say today, I showed you most things in Pulse besides that ask button are in GA today. Copilot, it's not out yet, so a lot of safe harbor there. Don't go purchasing Salesforce stock based off of that. But I think, it's coming and we'll learn more at the Tableau conference. So awesome, thanks.
Thanks, Tricia.
You bet.
And Shawn.
Yes, thank you so much, Shawn.
one thing I was going to mention is Trailhead has some really good training.
Great call.
There's some Tableau Pulse training on Trailhead too. So, and it's free. So if you're interested in learning more about Pulse, sign up for Trailhead.
Shawn, you don't have that link handy, do you? For Trailhead?
Let me see if I can pull it up right quick.
We'll throw that in the chat as we close things out.
I'll see if I can.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you, Tricia, Shawn. That was great content. I know that lots of this is new for me because I haven't been hands-on in Tableau in a little while. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. For those of you who are here in the room, if you want, we'll head down to Kincaid's, which is just like follow the Skyway and down the stairs and have a little happy hour. What's that?
You're not coming?
I cannot come. It's my daughter's birthday, so I'm gonna go home. But we will, and for those of you who are virtual, hopefully we'll run into, some of us will make connections at Tableau conference, or we will see you in May, right back here again.
I put a link to the Pulse fundamentals.
Yep, there's more. Yes, that's it. That's a more direct link. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Do you see many of your customers who, I mean, imagine, most